We've taken the steps to integrate Vue into our document. Before we move forward, let's take the time to check the application with the Vue-Dev-Tools. It's a crucial step because the official developer tools will allow us to debug the application. In the resource section of this lecture, I provide a link to the Vue-Dev-Tools extension. The Vue-Dev-Tools extension provides information about your application. It's effortless to use, and it will be beneficial later down the line. Scrolling down, we'll find a link to download it for either Chrome or Firefox. I'm going to download and install this quickly. You should do the same. I've finished downloading the tool. If I were to refresh the page, nothing would happen. Why is that? In the corner of the browser, a new icon will appear that will be grayed out. This icon will light up green if we have a Vue application loaded on the page. We're creating a Vue app in the browser, so why isn't this turning green? The developer tools are unable to detect a Vue application. It's because of security restrictions in regards to opening files directly in a browser. Browsers will typically limit some of its features when delivering a file locally as opposed from a server. In the address bar, you'll see that we're accessing our page via the file protocol. The extension, by default, doesn't support this protocol. We'll need to activate it ourselves manually. Right-click on the icon. Select Manage Extensions. A new tab will open with the settings for the extension. We want to check the setting that says Allow access to file URLs. Make sure that this option is turned on. The settings will save automatically. Once that's done, let's try refreshing the page again. In some cases, you may have to exit out of the browser and reload the page again. The extension's settings may not have taken effect until you have done so. Nothing on the page will change, but the icon at the top right will light up. That's a reliable indicator that Vue is functioning. If we were to click on it, it'll tell us that Vue has been detected on the page. We've verified Vue is working. The developer tools have so much more to offer though. We can view the details of the application from the Chrome developer tools. Open the developer tools if you haven't already. A new panel will be available called Vue. Click on it. If we were to click on the View panel, we'll find information about the application we created. At the very top of the developer tools, we can switch between tools. On the left side, a list of active applications on the page is listed by the tool. It'll even tell us the current version of Vue we're using in our application. Typically, you will find at least one app. Next, there are menu items for different categories of tools. Each tool can have another subcategory. We want to focus our attention on the Inspector Components tool. Not much info is available, which is expected since there's not much going on in the HTML or JavaScript file. However, under the list of components, there is an element called root. We haven't talked about components yet. You can ignore this term. It's something to revisit later. The root component refers to the element that Vue is controlling. It is the element that contains the overall application. This is very important to understand. You may only have one root component with as many children elements as you'd like. If you wanted to, you could have Vue control the entire page by assigning an ID to the body element. Then you can update the mount method to control the body element. It's common practice to load a Vue application within an element rather than the whole page. One of the benefits of placing it inside the div tag is to allow for multiple instances of a Vue application on the same page. I'm getting a little ahead here, but you can have numerous Vue instances within a single page. That's awesome. Anyway, getting back to the task at hand here. To verify if Vue is genuinely controlling the element on our page, we can select the root component. On the right, we'll see a button called Inspect DOM. If we were to click on this button, we'd be switched to the Elements panel with the element selected in the document. This behavior verifies that Vue is working. Congrats! You've made your very first Vue application. Admittedly, it isn't anything exciting, but it's a start. Let's quickly review what we know so far. To get started with Vue, we need to load it in. It's as simple as adding a script tag to the document. After installing Vue, we need to instruct it what element on the page it will control. Inside the JavaScript file, we created a new application by calling the createApp function. We pass it in an object to configure how the application will interact with the document. We didn't bother to configure Vue. It's something we'll get to in the upcoming lectures. Afterward, we chained the mount method. This method will tell Vue to insert the application into the document. It has one argument, the selector for the element where we want to insert the application. We want it to control the div tag with the ID of app. We can verify if Vue is active by taking a look at the Vue panel inside the developer tools. The root component refers to the element that's being controlled on the page. That's it. Nothing groundbreaking, but Vue is pretty simple so far, isn't it? In the next lecture, we'll begin making our application more dynamic.